Update 50 in the Elder Scrolls Online is live. And here's everything you should do first to enjoy the new update to the fullest. Hey everyone, it's Spopes. Update 50 is here in ESO, and in this guide, I'm going to cover the first 9 things you should do, the new activities that are available, the changes to the werewolf, etc. Before we get into the guide, please make sure you've subbed to the channel. Please do like and hype this video, and consider upgrading your support by becoming a member of the Spopes Army, checking out my official gear, or leaving a donation. All right, everyone, let's check out what is new in U50 and what you should tackle first. We're going to start off with a little bit of background on U50. This is the next major update in the Elder Scrolls Online, and while more actual content is going to come out a little bit later in the update cycle, starting in July and then going on to August, the main focus of what's going to be available at launch is upgrades to the game, whether that's the changes to the werewolf or challenge difficulty, and also a variety of player experience improvements. Now, notably, the Warden class rework was pushed back to Update 51, so all we're getting in this update is the newly redesigned werewolf. Later on within Update 50, we're getting the new Thieves Guild and Sheogorath questlines, but those are not available at the launch of U50. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at what is available now that U50 is out and what you should tackle first. So the first thing I'm doing at least is checking out the new werewolf refresh. The new and improved werewolf looks, feels, and operates completely differently from the way the werewolf was before. And just to be really clear, this is the player werewolf. You can turn into either a werewolf or a vampire in the game. As far as I'm aware, the werewolf NPCs are not going to be affected by this change. But yes, now that Update 50 is out, the werewolf is considerably different. Some of the most pertinent changes include a complete redesign to the werewolf model. There are now both male and female werewolf models, and both of them are considerably bigger and furrier, which I really hope doesn't encourage a certain subset of people, who shall not be named, and they just generally look better. I am unfortunately struck by how much the new werewolf kind of looks like a fursuit. Those people do not need to be enabled, but if I try to forget that fact, I do really like the way it looks. It's cool they're both male and female models. There are also a bunch of skill styles coming out, including a white and a black and a red werewolf. So you'll also be able to change the appearance of your werewolf quite considerably. I think a lot of those aren't coming to the launch of Season 1, though, in July. The way the werewolf looks, moves, and sounds has also been completely changed. Its locomotion has been redesigned, along with the way it blocks and roll dodges, and all the werewolf abilities now look different, and in many cases, the skills have been completely changed. You'll also be able to use a new ultimate while you are in werewolf form. This is brand new. Before, werewolf was your ultimate, but now the werewolf itself has its own ultimate. It's going to be possible to stay in werewolf form more easily, and when you're out of combat, you'll be able to stay a werewolf permanently. The werewolf is also getting its own execution ability called Slaughter, and Prowl is the new form of hiding for werewolves, where you don't actually disappear, but you just sort of creep around. So yeah, overall, I feel like they did a really good job with the werewolf redesign here. I'm stoked to check it out, but as someone who's always been more of a vampire person in the game, I'm really looking forward to vamps getting the same treatment down the line. But yes, I will be making a new character to turn into a werewolf. I'm going to check out all the changes and see how powerful I can get it in PvP. Overall, I think this is adding a lot of value to the game, and exploring the new werewolf is going to be the primary focus of the time that I spend in Update 50. Honestly, just as exciting for me, though, is the introduction of the new class mastery system. Now, if this system was designed to fix subclassing, it is definitely not going to do that. It's just going to instate an even more powerful meta. But at the same time, I'm really excited about some of the new abilities that are being introduced, and especially how they're going to synergize with certain sets that we'll get to in a moment here. For a full breakdown of all the class mastery passives and what they do, check out the video linked above. But just put simply here, Class Mastery gives you access to 5 new passive abilities for your class that you can only use when you're not using subclassing. And in some cases, these passive abilities have the potential to take your damage to incredibly high levels, or simply help you enjoy your favorite classes to a greater degree. Class Mastery is available now that Update 50 has launched, so definitely don't miss out on checking it out for yourself. In connection with Class Mastery, there has never been a better time to farm the Infinite Archive. When used in conjunction with certain Class Mastery passives, sets you get from the Infinite Archive are about to be a lot more powerful. I covered this in detail in a recent video that I'm linking above. But suffice to say that certain sets like Corpse Burster and Pyrebrand are now synergizing with class mastery passives to an extent that is kind of unbelievable. Not only will you be able to milk a lot more power out of your character, but these new combinations of effects just seem like they're going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, check out that dedicated video for more details and tips on how to farm the Infinite Archive, which I'm also linking down in the description. If you've already farmed the Infinite Archive and have all the sets, you are exempt from this. But for people like me who are woefully deficient in Infinite Archive sets, the time to grind is now to take advantage of all these new synergies. I've finally gotten nearly all the pieces I need for Pyrebrand on my Dragon Knights, but there are plenty more sets that I still want to farm. Once you've explored the new Werewolf and class mastery systems, my advice is to head over to the Infinite Archive and do some farming. Also releasing with Update 50 is the somewhat controversial challenge difficulty system. This is ZOS's take on the greatly requested overland difficulty options the community has wanted for years, but they've somehow managed to make that in the most boring and unrewarding form of the idea possible. My take is that it's great this is here, but the fact that you only get a pittance of additional gold and XP with no additional rewards is kind of disappointing, especially considering that certain levels of challenge difficulty are going to be almost insanely punishing. Now, it is worth mentioning at this juncture that there is going to be a new Golden Pursuits campaign designed around challenge difficulty. This will become available on June 18th, and it will give you rewards for completing activities while using challenge difficulty. So that's nice and all, but I know a lot of us were hoping for greater drop rates on set items or furnishings or whatever as you went up in the challenge difficulty tiers, but definitely worth checking out nonetheless. Once you've checked out the newly redesigned Werewolf and the class mastery system, and you farmed some sets in the Infinite Archive, it'll be time to take your beefed up character into the overland of ESO and test out challenge difficulty. Also now available in U50 is the PvP Veterancy system, a new take on rewards in PvP. This is essentially a free battle pass with 100 levels, where as you go up in Veterancy ranks, you will unlock new rewards, some of which are just currencies and consumables, but you'll also be able to get unique skill styles and titles that, at least while you're in PvP, will display your Veterancy rank to other players. I know that some of us, myself included, are kind of disappointed by how unoriginal this all is. I was hoping for a little bit more out of Veterancy, but nonetheless, this is definitely something new and interesting to experience in U50. It will revitalize PvP, it will push people to get back into doing PvP or try it for the first time. Personally, I'm going to be grinding Battlegrounds with my new Werewolf to see how high in the Veterancy ranks I can get. Once the excitement of challenge difficulty has worn off, take all the gains you've made on your Werewolf character and try out the new Veterancy system. Now that U50 is out, there has never been a better time to level up your companions. The overall XP rate for companions has been increased, and your companions will gain XP at an even faster rate at higher rapport levels. So if you have any companions that you've not yet gotten to level 20, such as my Sharp as Knight here, it will now be easier to grind out those remaining levels, especially if you make all the right moves and max out your companion's rapport. You'll definitely want a capable companion by your side as you check out all the new challenges U50 has to offer. So once you've done everything else I've covered on my list so far, take some time to max out your companion's level. Another improvement made in Update 50 is the ability to re-roll weekly challenges in Tamriel Tomes with gold. The way this has worked up until now is you only have a certain set number of re-rolls available, at which point you are simply stuck with the weekly challenges that you have. Now that U50 is out, however, there is no longer any limit to the number of times you can re-roll your challenges, though the cost does increase as you re-roll. The first re-roll is only 500 gold, but then that increases with each re-roll up to a maximum of 10,000 gold. The price resets back to 500 gold with every weekly reset. If you have any weekly challenges in your Tamriel Tome that you absolutely hate, now's the time to dish out some gold to re-roll them, since this change is live with Update 50. There is also a new type of Transmute station to check out in U50. This new Mages Guild style Transmute station will be available at a few different Mages Guilds throughout Tamriel, and you'll also be able to buy one for your own home during the month of June. The Mages Guilds that will now have Transmute stations are the ones in Eldenroot, Stormhaven, Mournhold, Leowen, Hrothgar, Skingrad, Vivec City, Necrom, Alinor, Rimmon, Gonfalon Bay, and Ivea. This change makes Transmute stations more accessible, and they also just look really cool. So if you do want to buy one of these Mages Guild Transmute stations for your own home, they'll be available in the Crown store from June 11th to June 18th. Once you've done everything else on my list, there's not much left except exploring these more minor changes. So go ahead and check out these new Transmute stations and consider getting one for your own home. The last thing you should do as you explore everything there is to experience in Update 50 is run through all the other player experience improvements. For instance, you can now send mail to all of your guild members as a guild master. You won't be kicked out of character creation until 15 minutes have passed. You can now deconstruct exemplary items, and the daily quest limit has increased from 50 to 100. All these changes are listed in the U50 patch notes, which I will be going over on my stream later today. That does it for everything I suggest you do first in U50. In some ways, like the player experience improvements is kind of a light update, but there's still a lot to explore between the redesigned werewolf, class mastery, challenge difficulty, veterancy, etc. This update should keep even the most hardcore players occupied for at least a few days. And for the rest of us, it will bridge the gap nicely between now and the beginning of Season 1 in July. Like I mentioned, personally, I'm going to be making a new werewolf character for this update. I'm going to embark on that process and exploring everything else that's new in Update 50 during my stream scheduled for later today. I hope you'll all join me for what will probably be a pretty long and momentous live stream right here on YouTube. In the comments, let me know what you're most excited for in Update 50, what you're going to try out first, what you think will be the biggest time sink for you in this update, what the most rewarding and engaging activities will be for you. And before you go, please remember to like, hype, and subscribe. And please remember, I can only do this with your support. The best way to support me is becoming a member of the Spopes Army. Plans start at $1 a month. That gives you access to member videos, all sorts of other perks, and the perks only increase as you go up in membership tiers. I do also have official Spopes merch listed below the video. For a full catalog, go to my Fourth Wall site, and you can also leave me donations on Fourth Wall or here on YouTube in the form of super thanks. Thank you all for watching and supporting the channel. We're going to finish up as always with a prayer to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Lord Jesus, thank you for all these changes to ESO, for making the game engaging and interesting with the new werewolf, class mastery, and all the other changes. Lord, please do bless Zos as they continue to live service this game, and bless all the players as we have our ups and downs. And Lord, in all ways, I ask you to enfold the will of man in your divine will. Help this earth become like it is in heaven. Please subsume my own will, Lord, in your divine will, and bring the world into accordance with your law and scriptures. Lord, I ask that you bless all souls across the world, the believers and the non-believers, the living and the dead. I ask that you bless my community especially, Lord, and that if it is within your will, that you bless my channel with divine providence. Whatever glory I have here on this channel in this video, I give it to you, Lord. Lord Christ, in your mercy, hear our prayer. You're a champion for sticking with the video until the end. Please do remember to like, hype, and sub. And when you do subscribe, turn on notifications, because I'll be back soon with new content.